Hello, Simon here from CraftedBricks. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to showcase for you this beautiful piece of LEGO history. This is, of course, the Castle set number 375, released back in 1978. And this is the very first dedicated castle-themed LEGO set that LEGO ever released. Following on for this was a whole wave of beautiful classic castle sets that are really even much loved to this day. In this video, I want to showcase the original model for you. Then I want to show you a slightly modified or updated version that I designed. And if you like what you see when I showcase my modified model, I'm actually publishing free instructions so you can build this for yourself. They're going to be available on Rubricable, and I'll put a link to where you can find those instructions in the description of this video. Before I show you my modified version of this original set, let's take a closer look at the original. I'll tell you the story about how I actually have this set and I'm able to do this video. So this particular original castle set actually belongs to my 7-year-old nephew, Austin. Hey Austin, thank you so much for lending me your castle set. Would you believe it or not, Austin actually came across this set in a church yard type sale. And he found all the pieces for this set mixed up with a whole lot of other vintage Lego, just all in a big cardboard box. And what a rare and amazing find. To find one of these castles in the wild in such great condition is such an amazing find. So well done to you, Austin. Now, I took it upon myself to actually restore the set for Austin. So the parts did need cleaning, so they were quite sort of weathered and a little bit dirty. And I also got a number of parts from Bricklink to replace a few missing parts. Unfortunately, we don't have all the minifigures. This original set comes with 16 minifigures, and I think we have about 11 of them. I'm also missing a few of the weapons. But as I was building this, and I hope you can see this when you see sort of the close-up view of this set on camera, as I was building this, I kind of fell in love with this. It's got a charm about it that's a bit hard to describe. I think it's this yellow color scheme, the red accents, and the proportions of the model that all just seem to work, and it is quite a beautiful piece. Look, I know we're used to now modern day Lego sets having a lot more detail, a lot more sophistication, but for something that is 43 years old, this actually really does look quite cool. In terms of play features, there's the doors that you can see here at the back, and they sort of open and close. Then these side walls also fold out, and that's a common feature we see on a lot of these castle type models. And what a great play feature. You can imagine as a kid opening those walls out, positioning the minifigures in different places, and then being able to play out scenarios must have been a lot of fun. And we actually see the same feature of these side walls being able to hinge open on the classic castle sets that followed on from this original. Now the set has one more play feature, which is just at the front, and that is the drawbridge will raise and lower with the winch on the gatehouse here. And as you can see, that's probably a lot of fun for a kid to be able to raise and lower that gatehouse. Or the drawbridge, sorry. Now, if I fold these walls back in, I just want to sort of mention that actually, when I was building this, I really kind of fell in love with it. You can probably tell, and that's why I'm doing this video. And I thought, look, I'd love to have one of these in my own collection. I'm going to return this to Austin. He's really looking forward to having this back. So I thought, rather than buying a used one at a fairly high price on Bricklink, what I would do is actually Bricklink all the parts new and build one of these from new. While I was going through that process, I imported the design of the original model into Studio. And I thought, look, why not make a few cosmetic updates and changes to fix a few issues I have with the model, sort of add a little bit more detail and give it a mini facelift. So I've gone ahead and done that in Studio. And now let's take a look at the original versus my modified version. While I have the two models on the turntable here side by side, I just want to talk about a couple of the main structural changes that I made to my modified version of the model and some of the external details, while I can compare it quite easily on camera to the original set over here. Now, one of the key changes that I made is I actually went one stud up on the main wall height, and then again another stud up for the gatehouse, the two towers, and this main tower in the back here. And maybe you can see this on camera, it just gives the modified version a slightly more robust look, just getting that bit of extra height. And I noticed with the original as well, the figures sit a little bit too tall, so they're not protected at all by these crenulations. So that's why I went up by one stud or one brick height on these towers, the gatehouse and this rear tower as well as the walls. Now, the other thing that I wanted to change on the original, most of these side slits in the walls, sort of on the front here, on the side of the castle and a number of other places, are square in design and are quite small. I want to give all of the openings and the archways and so on in my modified version a more consistent look using arches throughout. So you can see on the windows here, I've used arch pieces. And if I rotate this through to the side, you can see all those arched openings on this side wall here, and then also to the main towers here. Now, another thing that I really liked, or something that I really like with the original, is this beautiful sort of red detail here for this window on this main tower using these red headlight pieces. So I've actually obviously replicated that detail in my modified version for the main tower over here, but I've included that detail on these front windows either side of the gatehouse, and I think it looks great. And then I've included that same detail on the rear of the model here, either side of that rear gate as well. Now, while on the topic of the gate, you can see that I've gone with a plate built type gate, but that does definitely sort of fold open and close like on the original. But I thought going with a plate built gate just sort of suited the additional height and proportions of the revised model. The other thing that I've done, and I'm going to show you this soon, I've added a lot of details and different features to the inside of the model. I'm wondering if you can see this, but in the main tower here, there was just a blank space in the original model. So on the new model, I've actually added a throne type piece and I've put a minifigure that represents sort of a king or a prince or something there. But I just thought it'd be fun to add a little bit of detail and use that space. Now, one of the other things that I've done is on the original model, you'll notice there are, not on this model because those stickers have long gone, but on the original set, there were stickers that kind of had a white and purple type color scheme. That's why I've added this purple and white flag detail to the main tower. There was a flag here in the original, but we're missing that piece. And then I've also added the purple and white flags to the gatehouse here as well. I've also extended the drawbridge and slightly designed that, and I built a parts built type winch to allow you to winch the gate or the drawbridge up, and that winch is sitting up here on the gatehouse. The original winch type, they're sort of quite hard to find on Bricklink, so I just went with a parts built thing that works quite well. And then I actually went with some custom string, but you can use some normal Lego string as well. So I think that's about it for the external changes and the main structural changes to the model. With all of these changes, I didn't want to completely redesign this or dramatically change it from the original. I still want to sort of have something that looks close to the original, but it's just improved. And I want when people come over and have a look at my Lego collection, they're like, oh, is that classic Lego castle? And I'm like, yep, that is. I've just made a few subtle cosmetic changes to improve the original. One of the things that I want to improve on the original castle with my modified version here is to add some fun and interesting details to the interior courtyard of the model. If you take a look at the original castle, there are no details in the courtyard at all. I thought it'd be a great idea to actually include a couple of features that are a homage to some of the classic castle sets that followed on from this one. Now, like the original, my modified version, the walls definitely fold out. I think it's a great play feature, but it's also a great way to view some of the interior details that I've added to the model. Now, if I just rotate this around, let's check a few of these out. On this back wall section here, I've included a blacksmith type detail, and the elements and details there have been inspired by set number 6040, the blacksmith shop. And as you can see, I've also added the two knights into the central courtyard here. I think they look great in that position when you've got this castle on display. In the very rear section here, I've added in an armor and weapons type stand. That's been inspired by set number 6041, the armor shop. I mentioned earlier in the video, I included a throne type detail in that main tower at the back of the model, and that's just in here. And I'm hoping in this camera view you can see that in a little bit more detail. On this back wall here, I've added a food station type detail, and I've included a guard there enjoying a nice beverage when he is off duty. And finally, on this final section of wall, I've included a guardhouse type detail. That's been inspired by set number 6035, the castle guard. But overall, I'm really happy with these extra internal details. I think they look particularly good when the castle is in its folded up or fully compact normal display state. Just seems to give the courtyard and the whole model a little bit more life and character, and like this is actually a working real life castle. In terms of the horses for the knights that I've included with my modified version of this castle, I've decided to go with these two jousting type horses. These actually come from the Knights Joust set number 383. I just really like the look of these versus the originals. I really like the colorful coats that the horses have, displaying the heraldry colors of these two knights. And the fun thing for me as well is that the two minifigures that I've used here are actually some of my originals that came from some of my classic castle sets that I had when I was a child. So I've included the building steps and the parts that you'll need in my instructions to build these two horses. If you want to build the originals, which I'm showing over here, I still think for brick-built horses, I still think these look great and they're very much on error or consistent with the look of this particular castle. If you want to build these, check out the instructions for the original castle, and there you'll find the building steps that you'll need and the parts that you would require. Well, that's all from me for this video. I really hope that you've enjoyed watching the video, seeing all the details of the beautiful original Lego Set 375 Classic Yellow Castle, and then of course checking out all the details of my modified version of this set. Now, if this video has inspired you to go ahead and build my modified version of this set, you can definitely find the instructions on Rebrickable, and I'll put a link to the instructions in the description of the video. Just one word of sort of advice there. There are a few parts in this modified build that are a little bit hard to find in yellow color, and therefore, a little bit more expensive on Bricklink. So I'd highly recommend before you go ahead and purchase all the parts of the build, please check that the total cost of the parts there is in line with your expectations in terms of a spend for a build like this or your budget. That's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now and happy building.